We move to question number 5. Liz will be the first one to answer this. The need to promote 21st century talent has been recognized as a priority to economic development officials. What role would your mayor's office play in supporting and also promoting greater levels of academic achievement among adults and also children?
This is so key. Not to belittle the point, but when the mayor hired the social media consultant last year, it wasn't just the fact that it was just under the $75,000 consulting contract threshold, which would have required by my law to make the mayor come to city council for approval. It was the way it was done. The statement was that no one could do that job here in the city of Fort Wayne. That is a terrible statement to say to anyone, young or old, in terms of what their skill sets are here in the city of Fort Wayne. We need to look and grow our talent here locally. Some of our projects, the local entities and engineering companies are working side by side with outside agencies in terms of how they're doing some of these sewer projects. But what I have found is how we write our RFPs and the bids we put out are very subjective. And so I think we can work better on writing those kinds of bids and those projects to match the skill sets we have here and to make sure that the businesses here have the opportunity to bid on those projects. When my daughter worked a couple years ago, I have 7 children. 3 are out of college and 3 are in college. And right now, 3 are out of college, do not live in the city of Fort Wayne. I would love for them all to come back here and find the opportunities. But when my daughter was working for a company in Chicago and they were looking for a place to put their company, one of the things they looked at was our educational status. You Google search. They're not coming here and doing site location searches. They're just looking at what our college graduation rate is. And so that company chose not to locate here. So whether or not we have a direct influence on the academics and the education, we certainly have to use our office as a bully pulpit to promote that.
Let's thank you, Paula.
Well, and the question was about the 21st Century Talent Initiative, which is a part of the regional chambers, I think, platform and legislative platform. There are a couple of points that are important to me in this. One of the things we can do at a very basic level, the mayor should be the champion of school funding in our community. Right now, we all know that Fort Wayne Community Schools is struggling, but we should also know that they are the 2nd largest school corporation in the state. They are shy of IPS, Indianapolis Public Schools, by just a couple of hundred students, but we receive millions of dollars less in school funding. The state legislature is funding our schools and they're underfunding Fort Wayne Community Schools. Our community should be banding together. The Alliance, the Chamber, the city, the county, we should all be raising a ruckus about that. That's one concrete thing we can do right out of the box. We also have some great opportunities with higher education in this community. We have great colleges and universities here. We need to push more advanced level degrees. We've got the School of Pharmacology coming here. You can go through 4 years of med school at IPFW. There's talk of a law school coming. We need to encourage that. That kind of education is going to move Fort Wayne back closer to the cutting edge and create an environment of lifelong learning for every citizen in this community.
You know, education is a very important part of our city in many different respects. I have 4 children. They're going through the education process now. And one of the things that's important is to get our parents involved in the education of their kids. If we do not have a good educational system and we do not have parents involved in the education of our kids, then we're not going to have a good economic development and strong opportunities for people in the city. And again, we're just going to continue to lose jobs and to not be able to attract and retain talent. So I've come out and said that I think the mayor, while the mayor does not have control, certainly has influence and should partner with every educational level, including the fact that, you know, as a mayor, that you're responsible and I'm responsible for what happens in our charter schools, what happens in our public schools and private schools. Not that I'm responsible since I control it, but what happens there is essential for the future of our city. And so I'm going to play a role in partnering with and having school accountability and partnering with our schools to make sure we have the best education possible. And that's going to be a very important thing going forward and a part of, I believe, what a good CEO would do.
Rebuttal. I don't think our schools are underfunded. Actually, all 3 of us send our children to private schools. I think that we don't utilize the funds we have in the community appropriately. Just the fact that Indianapolis Public Schools receives more money doesn't mean that we also should receive more money than them. That comes from property tax dollars, and 50% of our property tax dollars now go to funding. I think what we need to do is we have great school programs here in the public system, and it's important for the city of Fort Wayne, but I think they need to be better utilized.
Just a comment, the school's general fund was shifted to the state last year.